Ozzy, what are you doing? Oh, trying to knock me off my game. All right. But I know I want things first. All right, everywhere so I can see me. My junkie. Yeah. Can't see that. All right. Shot clock. Okay. We're all set. Ready to go. Hello, everyone. I hope that you guys are having an amazing day. What is today? Tuesday. We are so close to Christmas. We are exactly what you might consider what 8, 9 days away from Christmas. So today is day 4. We have made it 4 whole days into 12 days of Christmas. Thank you. I am live. So we're going live a little bit later. Before we were saying we were going live at 12. And I will go back to 12 schedule, but tonight I decided to try the late night since a lot of more people will be available to kind of chime in, especially on TikTok. That's where I have the most live following. Um, so I know a lot of people will start probably rolling in around 9. And then for all the other platforms that you might be seeing this maybe later on down the line, if you revisit the video, we have covered day 1 was event professionals. You can find that video on YouTube at Enjoy Events. If you would like to visit day 2, we talked about, well, day 1, we talked about event professionals, what types of event professionals there are, how to classify them, what do you need them for, all of those details. Day 2, we talked about, I don't even remember. Let's pull it back up. Okay, so day 2, we talked about, so we talked about event professionals. Day 2, we talked about budget. We actually went through a full budget. I actually priced out what it was like to source a wedding and what some of the prices are. So you could check that video out again on Enjoy Events on YouTube. We also did day 3 was vendors. So I went over exactly what it was like to submit an RFP, what the process is through an RFP process, how do you go from RFP to contracting a vendor. And then I also actually went through my personal contract for my services, and I went through like the different clauses and all the things that you need to know about those contracts. So you could definitely check that out again on what YouTube Enjoy Events. I do have another YouTube page. It is I'm Jasmine Joy, just like all of my other platforms. But as it relates to content that is event related, I'm going to try to keep those separated. So you can check those out at any time. If you're looking at this video later on, then the description box below has details of the video, as well as how to connect with me again on Enjoy Events on Instagram and all platforms. Okay. So we're going to get right into it because I don't want to be on here all night, at least not talking about this. So we're going to get started. Let me go ahead and add my screen. What I do want to just kind of give you an overview of is what to expect. I have decided to just kind of walk through the Novair Events website. They are a large company in Atlanta of event venues. They have what I would consider kind of monopolized the market. In a sense, they own at least 8 or 9 properties around the major metro Atlanta area. And they have a pretty solid list of venues for all different types, as well as price points. And you can also, it's more so of like a one-stop shop situation. There's a few of those like that. I can tap into those towards the end of the video just to give you guys a little insight on those. But that is the overview of what we're going to be discussing today. And I'm going to actually just kind of walk through what is included in their venues and some of the prices and like how to just kind of source or scout these things. We talked about yesterday, typically you can source your venues through TikTok, Instagram, word of mouth, all of those different things. But there are a lot of different subsidiary or like companies that have subsidiaries involved in them. So, there's one major company and then they have different venues that are all owned by the same company. So I do know Novera Events. I think a Divine Event. Let me see. Let's just check that out while I'm here. Um, yeah, but I don't think their website has as much information. Let me see. Yeah, we're gonna stick with what I already had. Let's just stick where it was. Okay. No, they do have venues and they have them listed here. All right, we can. Nope, the website is not working. Okay, the Atrium. Mm-hmm. Sorry, y'all. I'm just doing trying to see if I can pull up some other options for y'all to see. But they don't have. Yeah, I don't really like this website. So let's stick with what I had. Let's stick with what I had. But they do have it. So if you do want to check out a Divine Event, their venues, we'll just give them a shout out. Flint Hill, Primrose College, the Atrium, Vinwood Stables, and the Nat House. I used to work at Flint Hill and the Atrium. They had another one that was right across the street from the Atrium. I don't know if they've changed the name of that one, but yes, I've worked with them before. They do pretty well if for your typical wedding where you want to go, where you want to where you want to go for if you want to do weddings that are like 4 to 5 hours. You want a one-stop shop, everything included. You just walk into your wedding and walk out. They are really good for that. A Divine Event, they have several different wedding venues. They are a little bit more on the outer skirts of the perimeter metro area, but they definitely have a great package. And so, like I said, they're package weddings. So I'm not really going to talk about them. We're going to more so talk about wedding venues that actually have just food and beverage minimums and preferred vendors. So let me add to the screen. Shout out to them. And then let me go full screen. So as I'm seeing what I see, we don't need to manipulate the screen too much. Okay, cool. All righty. I have to make sure I stay in the screen. All right, so we are looking at Novera Events. We're gonna scroll down. I hate that my mouse isn't working. So here they list all of the details, what the experience is like, what the service is like. But here's where they actually have all of their venues. Um, you can see the sliding screen. So their venues include. Start from the beginning. All right. So we're gonna start with the Summer House. I guess that's how you pronounce that. Summer or Studio is in West Midtown. They also have, which is currently their newest venue. I think it is still under development. It should be open now, give or take. But I haven't heard anything. But it's going to be called the West House. It is in West Midtown as well. They have 103 West, which is in Buckhead. I've been to some weddings there. They also have 433 Bishop. It is more of a modern, sleek space. That's like gives you a garden experience. They also have Bishop Station, which gives you that farm like look. The Biltmore Ballrooms, everybody's heard of it. It is a traditional wedding venue through and through. The Foundry at Puritan Mills. They have again a mix between industrial, lofty, form like style. I've been to some events there. Then you have Guardian Works. It is 100% rustic. Um, they also have the Stave Room. Um, so yeah, I don't know how many that is. I didn't count. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine venues listed here if I counted correctly. So we're gonna dive right in. So I particularly do like to use their website as a general sourcing platform to kind of always just shoot it out to my brides and let them know, hey, here are 8 or 9 venues that are owned by the same company. They have their prices listed, which I always tell people, if you go to a wedding venue and they have their prices listed, that is very good transparency that you will respect in this process. But it also lets you know what to expect. So the prices that you see that are going to be listed on there are typically your minimums. It gives you a good idea. And from what I say, and just keeping it real, it lets you know from the jump, can you afford this location? There is no gray area. There is not one of those things where you got to send a request. They give you back some numbers, but then when you look at your menu, it's not even comparable. No, they are letting you know from the jump, this is what we offer. These are the prices. If you would like to move forward with our venue, here's what you should expect. So I'm going to start with 103 West because we're here and I have actually been to this venue. So I can be able to kind of walk you guys through what to expect in their space. So let's go through some of their pictures. As you enter the venue, I don't know if you haven't been there, it is located in the Buckhead area. And when you walk into the venue, they have valet parking. And then you come in, and this would be your ceremony space. Obviously, it is already built for an all white, very luxury, that crisp white look wedding. Um, the reception area, you have to go out the ceremony space. So here's their entrance. You go out of the ceremony space into a lobby area that does have a bar. This is this area right here. Not really a good picture, but once you walk out of there, there is the bar area. You can mingle, have your cocktail hour there. They'll bring the food in that area for your guests, and then you proceed downstairs into what I would consider it's like a basement feel. I will say the ceilings are a little bit lower, and you have your reception there. It can get tight if you have a wedding over 150 people. So I just do want to note that, as you're looking at this, to make note of that. The windows here, a lot of times if you're having your wedding at night, you don't really get any much city lighting or anything like that because these windows are facing the parking lot. So you typically will want to keep the curtains and everything closed. So they have, the different types of events. Obviously, you can have wedding, social, corporate, and you can visit their page. It has all of their details, where they're located, map directions. You can make your inquiry. So we're going to go back up to their venue packet information so that you can review that and we can talk about some of the price points and things to expect. Mhm. Come Oh, you work okay. So some parts are still loaded, but we're gonna scroll. Um, so they have their about me area. It lets you know what their address is. Um, So, what is included in your experience? Your rental includes access to your chosen ballroom and the pre-function space for your duration of the rental. So you can separate the ballroom from the pre-function space, the ceremony, all of those different things if you so choose. Additionally, they have 60-inch round tables. They don't really specify exactly how many, but it would be enough to put the room at capacity at least. They have stylish hardwood tables, no linen needed. So that is considered a sustainability practice that has been implemented over the last couple of years. That if you don't use linen, paper cups, all of those kinds of things, that is a sustainability feature to help, cut back on water usage and washing them and all that kind of stuff. So that is really good if you're looking for, sustainability or eco-driven. They have silver Shivari chairs. So if you would like gold, clear, anything else, you would have to bring those in yourself. But they do have silver, which automatically matches the space. Your rental includes 4 hours of event time, 3 hours of vendor setup, and 1 hour of breakdown. You get one night of event manager. So we talked about in our event professionals, what does that consist of? Your event manager is there for the venue. They are there to make sure that your safari chairs are out. They are there to make sure that your table rounds are there. They're there to make sure your high boys are good, your catering and bar and all of that stuff is set up. But they are not there, and I will repeat, they are not there to make sure that your bridesmaids are in place. They are not there to make sure that your DJ showed up on time. They are not there to help your mother find her seat. So you do want to make sure that you have your own event planner or someone that is working on your behalf to actually execute the event. They do have two backup house personnels, and so those are the people that are working on the back end to make sure that all of the things that are going on with catering and in the kitchen and all of those things are being executed properly. And then you have one security personnel. I'm sure within the contract, depending on the size of your group, if you need to hire additional security or anything as such, that is something that will be quoted out. But in your traditional event rental, that is what is included. They do know that we only book one event per day per ballroom. So there's no overlap there. There's no like, oh, this person leaves at 12. Can I come in at 2? No. So as we talk about their ballroom that they've listed, it is located on the upper level of the venue. It is known and dedicated pre-function space with a beautiful built-in bar and built-in banquet seating for your cocktail hour space. The capacities for that space, if you want to do seated, that means no dance floor. It is 200 people. If you want to do seated with the dance floor, 150. One thing to note, anytime you add anything to the space, it is going to limit the capacity of the space. So if you do have a screen, that means people can only sit but so close to the screen. So you're losing square footage there. If you decide you want to have a 360 photo booth, you need enough space for the 360 photo booth to activate. So those things you wanted to take consideration of as you think about the capacity of your event and what you actually want to implement in the room. A lot of times the event coordinator for the venue will help you with those types of things. They will also be able to possibly spec out or give you a layout design so that you can see where everything will be placed and how much space you have, give or take, in any particular situation. So if you do a cocktail style, which a cocktail style is normally, some seating, some standing, a mix and mingle vibe, no dance floor, you can get 300 people into their ballroom. If you did a cocktail style with the dance floor, you can get 250. The whole venue buyout can accommodate 500 plus guests. So you want to inquire about that in your rental if that is something that you choose to do. We're scrolling. Okay. So now you have the grand ballroom. The grand ballroom is located on the lower level of the venue that I talked about that gives a little bit of a basement vibe. It is known and dedicated for pre-function space. So there is an area that you do walk into that has a built-in bar and everything before you actually enter into the reception space. The last wedding that I went to, she set that up as like a photo booth. That walking area as well as your seating chart was there. So when you came down the stairs from where we had the cocktail hour, you just got your seat, you took pictures with her pictures, grabbed your drink, and then you were able to enter the ballroom. So the ballroom is pretty straightforward. If you want to do seated, no dance floor, is 300. If you want to do seated with the dance floor, it is 220. If you want to do cocktail style, no dance floor, 350. Cocktail style with the dance floor, 300. My favorite part, whenever they have an event pricing actually listed out for you, again, you're able to really set that budget that we talked about in day two. You're able to get just a price point of what you're looking for before you even get started. And so oftentimes, like I stated in the beginning, I send this over to brides so that they can get a general understanding. They can be able to set their budget around certain things, and then they're able to execute in terms of searching for other venues and compare and contrast what the offerings are. So for this area, for this particular 103 West location, if you wanted to do the Buckhead Ballroom between, they have a typo, Sunday to Thursday, the rental is $3,000. So that is just for the rental of the space. Okay. If you wanted to rent it out Friday, it is $4,000. If you wanted to rent it out Saturday or the holidays, then it is $5,000 for the space. A beverage minimum, a food and beverage minimum is the minimum amount that you must spend in order to satisfy the venue. So if you spent the beverage minimum from Sunday to Thursday is $1,500. If you spent $1,505, then you've met your minimum for that. The minimum does not include any additional fees such as bar staff, taxes, service charges, anything like that. This is just towards your beverage minimum. Okay. There is a note about the ceremony fee. The ceremony fee applies to weddings that are chosen to have both their ceremony and reception with us. It includes an extra 1 hour of event time and 1 hour of rehearsal. Okay. So when they say that the ceremony fee is for those that choose to have both their ceremony and their reception, like I said, the rental is just a rental. If you would like to actually have a ceremony, then you have to pay an additional fee of $2,000, no matter what day of the week, no matter what holiday it is, and that adds an additional hour to your event time for the ceremony, as well as 1 hour of rehearsal. They do not specify when or what time that rehearsal can be, and that is something that you definitely want to get in writing at the time of signing. What time and when can you expect to schedule your rehearsal? Because some venues will try to tell you, well, we just give you 1 hour rehearsal. Your rehearsal can be on Tuesday and your wedding can be on Saturday. Even though we all know that that does not work as a standard practice, but they can do that. If it's not in writing of what the requirement is for your 1 hour rehearsal, you're at their discretion. So I always say, get that in writing at the time that you sign the contract. If you take a little water, get a little dry. So if you wanted to do the grand ballroom, they have a pretty much similar pricing structure. If you wanted to do both ballrooms, that is different. If you wanted to do both ballrooms, Sunday to Thursday, your rental fee is $5,000. The food and beverage minimum is you must inquire about. The ceremony fee still remains the same. For Friday rentals for both ballrooms, it is $7,000 with a $5,000 beverage minimum. If you want to win a wedding for Saturday or the holidays, it is $9,000 with a $6,000 beverage minimum. Okay. As I stated, the final bar pricing, bar staffing, taxes for liquor and sales, and production fee, which is 24%, production service, same thing. Additional event and load in time, parking attendance are additional fees, and that is something that you will negotiate within your contract. If you would like to inquire about holiday proms, citywide events, or December rates, they'll let you know what those special rates are. As we discussed, so let's go back because I might have said there are food and beverage minimum, but they only have a beverage minimum because they actually do the liquor through their venue. If you did catering, you have to bring in your own caterer. They have a list of approved caterers. I'm not going to go through all of those. I'm just going to read you the details around it, which Mozzie. Okay, and so as I stated, for this particular company, not the venue, the company itself, they take care of all of your beverage needs exclusively, providing all bar services for your event. They have several bar packages for you to choose from, and you can edit based on your preferences. In the following pages, we'll go over that, but they do have ultra premium brands, they have premium brands, they have call brands, beer and wine, and non-alcoholic beverages. Notes on catering. If you would like to use a caterer that is not on their approved list, there is a $2,000 kitchen use. So basically, you're buying out their in-house caterer. So you have to pay $2,000 as a flat fee just to be able to bring in your own caterer and utilize the space. Then you also must provide a copy of their business license, a certificate of insurance 1 month prior to the event. They will need a copy of the caterer's paperwork before they can schedule the final planning meeting. And they want you to be sure that your caterer can comply with their in-house rules and documentation required. Pretty straightforward. If you're looking to bring in a high-end caterer that is, well-known and, a large company, they've probably already worked with these venues. They already know, the ins and outs and such. If you're going to bring in a smaller caterer or someone that you know personally, a family friend or something like that, ask them if they work with the venue because they may have. If they haven't, then you definitely want to make sure that before you contract that caterer, that you put them in contact with your event manager or the event salesperson for that particular venue. And this is across the board. This is for any venue. We're talking about any venue. These are just the standard practices and processes. You want to make sure that you connect them so that you can be sure that they're on the same page and understand the expectations. That way, if the caterer needs to do anything special for themselves, such as get an additional heater or load in somewhere, or they maybe have to set up their own outdoor tent because they don't have enough space in the kitchen. Maybe the kitchen only has warmers, all of those different things. You want to make sure that they can be able to ask the required questions that they need to pull off the services before you contract. Because if you contract with the caterer, you are contractually obligated to whatever their terms and conditions are, even if they're not able to execute on your wedding because the venue does not allow that. So you want to make sure that you are clear on both ends and that you merge them together so that they can be able to ask any of the required questions and meet the exact needs of your wedding. Okay. Bar packages. Bar packages and pricing is based on a 4-hour service time based on the whole entire event not the entire event, but your scheduled time. If you choose to add additional hours or anything like that, you will have to notify them. All of the per person packages include butler passed wine upon request upon guest arrival for cocktail hour. All packages include your Cokes, your Sprites, all of the drinks and mixers that are required for a full bar. Their premium, ultra premium packages, they start at $70 per guest, which is pretty standard. If you go to like a hotel or something like that, sometimes they typically price their packages on a 90-minute to 2-hour schedule, and normally those are around $32. If you want to double that additional hours, 2 hours, then it does get you back up into that 70 price range. So this is pretty standard. That includes your Hendrix Gin, your Casamigos, your Grey Goose, rum, Johnny Walker Black, basil bourbon, your wine selections. I'm not going to read all those because I'm not going to get to butchering all these names. And then your beer selections. Their premium packages start at $43 per guest. Again, that is 4 hours. So you're thinking, your again Bombay gin, your tequila, Tito's, Bustletown, Bacardi, Bullet, Crown Royal. That is in your premium package, $43 per guest, $37.50 per guest. For your call drinks, your beer and wine selections are $32 per guest. Upgrades, options to upgrade to premium brand wines. See the premium packages for your selection. And then other packages, if you just want to do a non-alcoholic bar, it is $13 per person. If you wanted to do a consumption bar, your call beverages drinks are $10 per drink. If you wanted to do a premium brand, it is $12.50. Ultra premium, it is $18. Call brand wine, $9. Premium wine, $11. Ultra premium wine, $15. Beer, $7. And non-alcoholic, $4. So you think, if you did a consumption bar, what a consumption bar is you can do a mix where you run a tab, you come pay the tab, or each individual guest pays their own tab. Both of those fall under consumption cash bars. And if you did a non-alcoholic drink, it's $4 per drink, where their non-alcoholic packages are $13. So you think, if you have 4 hours, how many drinks will people have within 4 hours? If they have 4 drinks in 4 hours at $4 a pop, $13.50 is a pretty good, average, for those that might have more than one drink. I don't see people drinking 4 sodas. But hey, it is possible. That is what you're looking at for an open bar. Their premium, ultra premium, is $18 per drink, where the package is $72. I think we discussed. I'm not going to scroll back up. So $18 is rounded off to 20 just for my mental math. So how many drinks can you get within $70? 3.5 drinks. 4 drinks even. And so again, you think 1 drink per hour, which is pretty standard. That is, enough to stay under the legal limit. And so that is how they price those out. And obviously, if someone decides, they want to have 2 drinks per hour, 3 drinks per hour, that is where you get into the realm of having an open bar. If you know that you have a crowd that does not drink that much and that you're still going to be able to meet your minimum, I would definitely say run a tab, pay the tab at your minimum. Once you've met your $1,500 to $5,000 minimum, go ahead and turn it into a cash bar. That helps you save money and budget appropriately. Just running that out there to you. All right, so they have some bar additions and upgrades that you're able to utilize, whether it be a past toast, $4 per person, $5.50 per person, $15 per person for Vevu. You have your tableside wine service, $5 per person, $7 per person, $19 per person. No, you cannot say I only want to do 30 people and it's 35 people. They are going to count and make sure that those numbers align. If you wanted to add on any certain drinks, so say you want to do the non-alcoholic and then you just want to have Tito's for everyone, you can do that. Those are options that you have. They go deep into, what kind of drinks that you can add. I'm not going to keep reading that. I am going to read the fine print for you so that you can understand. Consumption and cash bars are not eligible for add-ons or upgrades. So you definitely want to make sure that if you're doing an open bar, that you would do the open bar non-alcoholic and then just add on your certain liquors. Anything other than that, you want to go each level up and just add whichever one is higher to that package. Okay. So additional bar information: staff charges a fee of $250 per bartender. kind of high. Normally they're like 150, 175, 250 per bartender. You typically want to have one bartender per every 75 guests. They probably already going to say that, but we're going to get to that. So 250 per bartender, 250 per bar back, 250 per beverage server is applicable for all service options. One bartender is required for every 50 to 75 guests. I say for every 50 guests if you're going to have a cocktail hour. Why do I say that? It is because when everyone leaves your wedding at the same time, they're going to all go to the bar at the same time. So when you do the 1 per 75, it's when people are casually strolling in, when it's an event and everybody's mingling and all of those kinds of things, you can have a flow of the bar. But when you go to your cocktail hour, everybody's crowding the bar. And we've all been to that wedding where we're all, my dog. We've all been to that wedding where we're all crowded around the bar, waiting on our drinks and wondering why there's not enough bar staff there. It is because they stuck with the 1 per 75 when you really probably want to get to the 1 per 50 price range. Count for, any place where everyone is coming in at one time. So I say 1 per 50 for weddings. And then you have one bar back plus one beverage server are required for every 2 bartenders. So should the tableside wine be added, one wine server is required for every 4 guests of tables. 4 guest tables. So each table has anywhere between 6 to 10. You can kind of fit 10 in some tables. So depending on how they set up their tables, that covers, somewhat up to 40 per people. So for every 40 people, you're probably going to need one wine server. That's how I would kind of note that. In 30 to 40 people, you need one server. A fee of $250 per wine server. So basically all of their servers are $250. And you're sticking within a range of 50 to 75 for your bartender. For every bartender, you need one beverage server and one bar back. And then all beverages are subject to a 24% production fee that is interchangeable for a service fee, 8.9% sales tax. I'm sorry, that's one of my brides texting me. Okay. And so 8.9% sales tax is applied to the beverage and service charges. And crazy thing is, my ADD, she literally just sent me one of the venues for this. We had talked about that, but hey, I digress. When I get off this call, I'm going to send her back this website so she can, price it out, make sure that's something that's appropriate for her, and then we can move forward. But an additional 3% sales taxes apply for liquor sales, okay? Please note that their particular venues do not serve shots of liquor. Okay. So yeah, that is just they do provide in this package just recommended nearby hotels as well as recommended vendors that you could possibly use. I'm going to scroll down booking information. All right. As it relates to touring, you are able to schedule a tour Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4. You can inquire about a schedule. A lot of times, wedding venues and such do not tour on the weekends because hopefully they're booked. But if they aren't booked, they obviously will tour you if they are available to do that. For this particular venue, if you're holding a date or looking for a schedule, the full facility rental is due with the return of a signed contract within 7 days of receipt. The date of the event is not reserved until the payment of the signed rental agreement is received. This rental payment and all other deposits and payments are non-refundable and non-transferable. 6 months prior to your event, the beverage minimum is due. The final balance in a separate $1,500 refundable damage deposit is due 10 days prior to your event. They accept payments in the form of cash, check, credit card, or direct deposit. Checks may be payable to them. 3 to 4% admin fee is applied to all credit card transactions, and they recommend ACH direct payment as the easiest way to receive and avoid any fees. They want you to keep in mind the policies of event staffing and charging, wedding ceremony, rehearsals, work around other booked events. We talked about that. So if you are looking to have a ceremony rehearsal, you probably want to try to get it in contract. And what I say for venues like this is go ahead and let them know, hey, I want to have my rehearsal at 9 a.m., 10 a.m. the day before your wedding. That way, most times, if someone is having a wedding, they're not getting married at 10 a.m. in the morning. So even if they're loading in, they can be able to touch base with you. Let me answer this as my client. Hi, Sheree. Hey, yeah, I'm wrapping up my live from my 12 days of Christmas, and I'll call you back in like 10, 15 minutes. No, you're fine. Why are you whispering? You on the phone. All right, I'll call you back. Okay, bye. Okay, so the rates are higher and beverage minimums apply for citywide events, holidays, proms, December events. Sundays and certain holidays have Saturday rates minimums such as Labor Day, Memorial Day, July 4th. So if you're trying to get married on July 4th and you're like, oh, it's a Tuesday, I can get this rate. No, they're going to charge you the Saturday rate or the holiday rate. You know, these things are pretty standard across the board for venues, and it's kind of like, you know, if you were a business, how would you structure your business? And so I always explain to my brides, this is a money grab for them. You know, it is not going to be fair. It is not going to be like, oh, I thought that they were going to discount something. No, they are here to make their money, and you are not the only person and not going to be the last person that is looking for their space. So they're not really going to cut any corners for you. It is going to be very direct and to the point. So if you're looking to get married on any holiday, you can expect them to still charge you a certain fee. We talked about no liquor shots. A lot of times venues say no sparklers or confetti allowed, no colored smoke. Sometimes they might even tell you no rose petals, no real rose petals on the floor. All of those different things could be contingencies within the venue. And so you want to make sure that all of that is clear in your contract and that you have requested anything that you would like for your wedding at the time of contract. You always have an opportunity for an addendum, but it is not always required to be approved. So you want to get it in as early as possible. Rates are subject to change without any notice. So if you're looking at this document and you're looking to get married and you see it, just because you see the price today, it does not mean that it's going to be the price next Friday. So act now and get everything in writing so that you can always be able to lock in your best rate. For event parking information, there is a flat $500 fee for the lot, and you have to inquire about your specific needs and valet. So that means if you're having an event and it's only 30 people coming, then it's still going to be a flat rate for that parking lot. But if for any reason you're going to have 600 attendees because they can hold more than 500, then you're probably going to need to hire some additional staff. You're going to need, you know, something. So they're going to let you know what those fees are additionally for that. Hey, that kind of sums up what it's like to kind of source a venue and what some of their offerings are. I just wanted to do, again, a high level. This is just 12 days of Christmas. We're just giving a high level educational format of what to expect when you're looking at a wedding venue. Each one of their venues actually offers all of this detailed information that I just went over with you guys, and it's very clear and outlined. So if you are interested in any of their venues, definitely go back and check it out. Use it as a source for your budgeting. Like I said, it is a great starting point just to get an idea of what to expect, what you're looking for, you know, how to be able to envision what you want for your wedding. And that kind of just sums up everything. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about the bridal party. That's going to get a little spicy, if I do say so myself. So there's definitely probably going to be some sound bites that can be used from that. But also, I'm just going to be, you know, spilling a little tea based on personal experience. I will probably not be operating from a professional standpoint in that. I'm probably going to just kind of keep it a little real with y'all about like what I think is just ethically and morally correct for what you need to ask of your bridal party, and anything beyond that is on you. So we're gonna keep this a little more based on my personal experience, because that's the only thing I could go off of with the bridal party. I don't manage bridal parties. I don't really have much to do with that as a wedding planner outside of, telling them what to do when it relates to the wedding. But how you deal with your wedding party is completely up to you. So that's why I say I'm going to just give you personal experience and what I think is, best practice. And then from there, you guys can take from it what you would like. Again, always connect with me on Enjoy Events on any platform. That is ENJOI.events on most platforms. I think on YouTube, there is not a period in the middle. It's just Enjoy Events. All of my other personal platforms are the same as my TikTok and Instagram. That is I'm Jasmine Joy. If you would like to contact me or submit a request for my service, visit me on www.ioevents.com. Toodles for now. I will talk to you guys tomorrow.